right. Let's see who joins tonight. I should have put my earrings on, but such is life. We'll give a few minutes and then I'm going to get into it. Give it a few minutes. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Jeff. How y'all doing? All right, so I'm going to get into it. Happy Friday to everyone. Decided to come on and do a little happy hour chit chat because I wanted to share with y'all an experience I had this afternoon. So, this morning, um, if you've ever watched any of the content or anything like that, I always talk about, hey, hey, Finyang, love you too. I've talked about that from my Jehovah's Witness days. I only have two people that I consider friends, still consider friends, who communicate with me. It ain't like we talking on the phone every day, every week, or nothing like that. But we keep in communication, a few times a year. Well, one of those friends reached out to me this morning and was letting me know that they were going to be near where I live and would love to see me. Well, I had patients around that time. So I said, well, how long do you plan on being out this way? So she was like, about 1 o'clock. I said, okay, well, if you feel up to it, you can come up to the clinic. So she said, okay, bet. So finish up with my patient. She arrives, sit down in my office, begin to chit chat, kind of talking about what I got going on, talking about what she got going on. Is she going to, retire? Regular, normal friends catching up chit chat, right? So then I start asking, because I'm trying to drop some seeds, because I'm thinking like, okay, maybe this might be the one time we talk and she doesn't give me, the come back to Jehovah spiel. So we talking this and that, and I say, yeah, I hear, the Kingdom Hall is a little light, people are kind of sticking to Zoom and things of that nature. And she said, yeah, the congregation that that I was a part of, she still goes to, was like, oh yeah, the older friends, the sick friends, they just do Zoom and this and that. I kind of wanted to hear what she was gonna say. I know the truth is more, people have left, right? But I'm like, okay. So we just kept talking about that, kind of like who's still at that congregation, who's not, this, and that. So 45 minutes then went by and everything. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this was about, she dropped a few. This is why we can't wait until the end comes. She did drop a few of those during that time and everything. But I was like, okay, this wasn't too bad. Then she flat out, y'all. She flat out was like, okay, now I cannot leave until I ask you a few questions. I'm like, what? I'm thinking like, what? Where does come? Like, so she asked me, where do you stand with Jehovah? And I said, well, let me ask you something. Do you feel that people can only have, no, she said, where does your relationship with Jehovah stand? That's what she said. So I said, well, let me ask you this. Do you think people can have a relationship with Jehovah without going through without going to the Kingdom Hall and the meetings and, the whole routine, of the organization? So then she gave me some, well, we actually discussed this yesterday at the meeting about how Jehovah always used, some channel, some organization, how it was always structured. The people would come to a certain location to hear, the prophets and, all this stuff. So I'm like, okay. So then, um, so then it just kind of went from there. She gave some more. So I can't remember the exact flow. It is, Jeff. It really is. So I can't remember the exact flow. So I'm just gonna give you the tidbits of the Jehovah Witness part of the conversation as they come to me. So that's how she started it. And so then then there was a moment. No, so in between there, I started kind of dropping some subtle things, right? Um, and then I could tell she was getting a little bit agitated because I wasn't nasty. I didn't get defensive. I didn't change my voice. And I was saying it as if like, things I've heard, things I observed. What do things like that. I was flipping the script and asking her a question in response kind of thing, right? So then I guess she was like, let me take back control of this conversation. So then she asked me, what is your husband's stance? She said his name. And that threw me for a loop because I was like, oh, where we going with this? Right? Where we going with this? So if y'all didn't know, because I don't know who are on here, my husband has never been Jehovah Witness affiliated. He's never had any desire to be a Jehovah Witness. And when we met and married, I guess you could say technically was still a Jehovah Witness, right? Because up until maybe 4 to 6 weeks of us getting married, I still, was going to the hall. Not every meeting, but I, was still going. So in theory, if I had never woken all the way up, he was okay with, me and me being, a Jehovah Witness. And I never, tried to preach to him or convert him or things like that. So when she asked that, I was like, so give y'all a little backstory. Her husband is the head elder. They change the names all the time. I think it's called PO, right? Is it PO? He the presiding elder or whatever. So I feel like the conversation and as I share it, I feel like that was a planted question that her husband probably told her to ask. Right? Now, mind y'all, I have been gone. I've been married, 9 years in April? I've been gone for the most part 9 freaking years. In 2021, her husband and another elder that everybody likes, at that hall called me. And we had a, phone conversation, the three of us. And they asked me flat out. And I said, I don't go to the Kingdom Hall because I don't want to go to the Kingdom Hall. Like, I don't want to, So I'm like, why? Why are y'all bugging me with this? So anyway, so she asked me that. And so I let her know. So this was my way of dropping some more information to let her know this is the stuff I know without it making it seem like I'm no longer Jehovah's Witness because right? So since she opened up the door by asking about my husband, I said, well, my husband has seen where there have been these, thousands of cases of CSA with the Australian Royal Commission. And then I turned around and hit her with, I said, and recently there was a case where the organization is being sued for $100 million because a young lady in Brazil was being touched, because I don't know what YouTube gonna let me say, for many years by a CO. The branch knew about it and all they did was put him somewhere else. I said, so when my husband sees stuff like that, he doesn't want to be a part of an organization like that. She looked a little shook because I don't think she was expecting me to bring that up, right? So then she said, well, the classic response, well, she didn't say perfect organization, imperfect people, but she was like with any organization, you have good Jehovah's Witnesses and bad Jehovah's Witnesses. I was just like, okay, so this is what we about to do. You about to have a freaking answer for everything. I'm like, okay. So we continue to talk. So then she giving me the spiel, and then she tried to play the Jedi man trick, and so she was like, I'm a logical person, talking about herself, and she said, and you are too, and that's what made us become friends. And so she said, when I was younger, I had questions like you, right? And I asked my dad, well, how do we know? Because this group say they had the truth, this group say they had the truth, da 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 da. And so my dad told me, just keep researching, just read the Bible and then look and see if what the Bible say his people will do, who's doing it. I'm like, girl, that's like Jehovah Witness brainwashing 101. Right? So I said, I hear what you're saying. I said, but there is a lot of organizations that feel that they're that chosen one, that chosen channel. I said, you have Seventh-day Adventists, you have Mormon, and they all feel that they have a structure and an organization, and they have a set of group of people who, get all the knowledge and, instruction from God to dispense to people. So she really didn't have a comeback for that other than do your research, really read the Bible, this, and that. And so then I said, I'm like, F it, let me get a little more spicy. Um, 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 I'm gonna read these chats in a minute, y'all. Let me get this part out and then we can engage. So I'm like, F it. Let me drop some more little tidbits, right? Because I'm trying to, like I said, I love her. But I told my husband today, I'm also okay if today was the last time that we, speak or see each other. Because what I don't want is every time we get together, it's going to end with you trying to tell me I need to come back to Jehovah, kind of thing. So I started saying, so I made it seem like I'm still engaged, right? So I was like, I'm watching the updates on jw.org, I'm watching the this and that. So I was making it seem like that I'm looking because I'm trying to stay connected versus looking so that I have some commentary for what I got to say on this channel. So I said, just like Toni Morrison, I said, what happened with that? 1 minute he's a governing body member held in high regard, and then he's just wiped off of the governing body, and for the most part, wiped off the website. Y'all, I'm drinking this sparkling mineral water, so excuse me if I'm a little burpy. She said, who? Like he was disfellowship, right? Like who? She was like, who? Then she say, oh, you talking about that old sick man? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, y'all. I couldn't believe that she responded that way. And I was like, old and sick. I said, oh, you talking about that old sick man who stepped down? I said, but did he step down? I said, because 1 minute he was there in the broadcast and the next minute he wasn't. And nobody said anything. And I'm like, and if he was old and sick and he stepped down, why was that not communicated, to the masses? Why was that not communicated? Like, if correct me if anybody know, I don't recall. Do y'all? I want to say, did they announce that he was no longer a governing body member or something like that? I can't remember. So that blew my mind when she said that. And so I said, well, what's his name? Heard, Let. I said, they old. I said, when I watch it, they looking real frail too. So are you saying that they should just, disappear off the broadcast without any explanation? If these supposed to be God's channel, Why don't we know more about that? And then I started to be incredibly petty. And of course, my husband said I should have, and said, I know where he at. He in North Carolina in a $300,000 house. So I don't think he that sick. But her response to me was so shocking and cold. And it was like, this is what y'all do when people get this fellowship. Y'all talk about who? Girl, you trying to tell me you don't know who Toni Morrison is? Then was when she said, "Oh, that old sick guy that stepped down," I was blown away. I was blown away. So then I started talking about like new light. I'm like, everything stuff is changing, right? I'm like, 1 minute you would have been condemned and treated poorly if you were a man with a beard, or you was a woman thinking you finna go out in service with pants. I'm like, they reversed their stance on higher education. I'm like, do you recall when I was going back to school for nursing, how the friends treated me? Like, she was telling me, stop telling these friends what you're doing. So it's so interesting that in that moment, 10 something years ago, you had the clarity to tell me as a witness, being in the organization just like her, stop telling these friends your business. You got to do what you got to do for you because you single. So you can make that stance then, but now me saying, because I had told her, so she's like, so what is your plan? What are you gonna do? And I was like, right now I'm just focusing on me and being a good person. And she was like, yeah, but it's some other boxes missing. That's what she told me. I'm like, now that I'm out, guys, and even when I was in, that's why I was telling my husband the other day, I said, I don't know if I was ever a real Jehovah's Witness. I said, because even when I was in, if if what I believe or what I felt I knew about a creator, something bigger than us, almighty, the divine, however you want to describe it, I just found it hard to believe that if you're not a Jehovah Witness, even though you could be the best person in the world, Mother Teresa, uh, what's his name, Bishop Desmond Tutu, a newborn baby who's 6 hours old, who don't even know where they at, what's going on. That a God that the Bible says is love would come and destroy, everybody that didn't go to this kingdom hall. I never used to really believe that. I'm like, my mama a good person. My mom has been a excellent mom. And so I'm supposed to believe that just because she don't want to come to the kingdom hall and knock on doors on Saturday, that God is going to get rid of her, or my grandma, or, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know if I ever was a for real Jehovah Witness. I really don't. Because even though I learned to not express my doubts, I still had things in my head like, I don't think God's going to do this or do that or this, that, and the third. So what else did she say? So then she was getting kind of upset, and then she was really, trying to reason on the scriptures with me, kind of thing. And then I think she realized, like, I'm gonna have something to say, and you're gonna start sounding silly because your response when I said about the CSA was, it's good Jehovah Witnesses and it's bad Jehovah Witnesses. Okay. All right. Um, you trying to insinuate that somehow my husband is the reason why I don't go to the hall, which I know that's the narrative. She left Jehovah because of that man. I know that's the narrative. I'm willing to put good money. And the fact that she blatantly asked me that's what they, think. And As she was preparing to leave, she had went to the bathroom, everything. Then she came because the bathrooms are like common area, not I don't have one in my suite. And she's about to go, and I'm thinking we done, right? I'm like, girl, if you have not, if this conversation right here did not confirm from you, I'm not interested in going to nobody's Kingdom Hall or whatever it is that you're saying, right? So I hug her, tell her I'll see her later and all that kind of stuff. And before she left, she turned, she said, it's not too late. Jehovah, Jehovah hasn't left you. Um, we leave. That's what she said. And I'm just like, Lord, did I ever used to say this kind of hogwash to people? Just crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Let me see what y'all saying. When they ask, Jeff said, when they ask about your status with JW or views about governing body Jehovah, it feels feel very cold. Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely the whole conversation was giving cult vibes. The whole conversation. And I told my husband as I was leaving, and called him and told him what happened. It broke my heart because I love her. I love her. Do you know what I'm saying? Um, and my heart breaks is because when you was younger, you asked your dad, how do you know this? How are we supposed to know this the truth? Because these men saying it, that's what she said. Just because these men say it, but other people say that they hear the truth. And what did her dad do? Basically just, watch for the signs of who has the truth. But then when y'all find out what's going on behind the curtain, y'all don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear about y'all good organization has been taking advantage of kids and women. Some of these people whose stories get told, they being abused in their early 20s. We know of women who are living in straight DV situations because the elders tell them to stick with their husbands. It's crazy. Web Design said, hey T, saying hello. I watch, listen often, but don't message while driving. Not a JW, visited hall way back, but strongly relate when leaving, what is that, Church of Christ, with similar treatment a long time ago. Well, thank you, Web Design. I appreciate that. Thank you for attending the live. Jeff said they made an announcement on the website that he's no longer on the governing body. That's right. Then they took the announcement off. Then they took it off. I wonder if she counted talking with you as field service time. Great. This is what I was thinking too, because she was there about an hour. Hey, RC. She was there about an hour. Because she got, well, I take that back. Let me see. So one. Yeah, she was there. She was there in total, probably about an hour, because she got there past 1. Because I remember I was finishing up with my patient who is my friend as well. So we had started kind of, jaw jacking and things of that nature. And so I remember looking at my watch and it was past 1. So she got there a little past 1. And when she left for good, it was like 2:15. I would say the Jehovah Witness, let me get you back talk. that was about 20 minutes. Yeah, about 15, 20 minutes. Unbelievable, guys. So I was like, let me go and tell them what happened to me today. So I would not be surprised. Obviously, she's going to go home and debrief with her husband. Obviously, she's going to go home and probably share with him that I brought up the Australian Royal Commission, that I brought up this new one. Now, I don't know if she might have heard about this new one. Then she even made a kind of snide remark about Facebook. Because I was saying, I'm trying to think of like, who all went to the congregation, and I'm trying because I'm trying to pull out and find out who has left. Right? It's one thing to lead that congregation, but who has left? And as I was asking people, if she couldn't tell me, yeah, they still there, or oh, they went over to Indiana, or they went to this congregation and things of that nature, that let me know they left. And so I remember asking her, I was like, oh, and I was like, no, not that Susie or whatever, right? The other Susie. So then when I said, oh, so she's still there. I said, what about her daughter? You know, her whole face changed. She said, nope. So that let me know the daughter don't just not go. The daughter probably is disfellowship. And the daughter used to give me, if I wasn't in the Kingdom Hall, I would be 100% stud energy. So I wouldn't be surprised she out here living her best life. Okay. But my husband is like talking about he wish I had recorded it because he want to hear everything. So let me tell y'all something. I think I mentioned this before. I probably never went in detail. And if anybody want to come up, if you want to share a similar experience, if you still have a connection to somebody who is still heavily in it, and you're able for 75-80% of your conversation have a regular normal catch-up conversation, but then they flip it to where they gotta justify their time kind of thing. I will drop the link and you can come up if you want, or you can stay in the chat, however you feel. So what was I about to say? Dang, I forget, y'all. Y'all know me and this 50-year-old brain. What was I about to say? Oh, so when she asked the flat out question about, what's my husband's stance when it comes to, being a Jehovah's Witness, the tone, the look on her face, the way she said, just everything, it reminded me of, so I got married in April, and like third week of April, I think, yeah. So for about, let me see, probably 4 or 5 weeks, up to getting married, her husband was calling. Not every day, but he was calling. And he was calling, and you really need to think about this. Jehovah's not pleased. You're gonna regret it. And it was starting to give me the icks, because I was like, I'm grown. Like, I'm good and grown at this point, y'all. I'm like, what, 42? I'm like, this is giving, I'm not a kid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is giving kind of the icks. So now I went against my own rules, and I had moved in to my husband's place because I had got a job out here where we live prior to us getting married. I had moved out here maybe about 2-3 weeks before we got married. And I felt like I was living in sin. I was shacking up for 2-3 whole weeks, y'all. So I was like, oh Lord. Because that just was my belief that, don't shack up. What they say, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? But anyway, about a week before I got married, y'all, he called me. My husband was there, fiance at the time. He like, put him on speaker, because he wanted to hear, like, why y'all keep calling her? Y'all, this man asked me, I guess this was the equivalent of what people go through when they have gone to the back room. He wanted to know if I had sex, and if so, how many times, and which way. It was like, oh my God, my husband was so pissed, and I'm like, saying to him, like, please don't say nothing. I'm like, don't let this get you upset, because I'm just gonna say whatever, and get off the phone. Like I had made up in my mind, like, dude, I'm good and grown. If I'm screwing or not screwing, it really is none of your concern. You're not my daddy. As far as I'm concerned, you're not even my religious leader anymore, because I'm done. Even if I still had some mental crap, in my head, I was physically done, you know. And so when she asked me that question, it's like I almost like seen her husband's face and voice, because it's like I was like, oh my God, just like the flashback. I'm like, if this is what they're doing to young people in who are teenagers, and y'all, this is how y'all doing it. I'm like, this is so disgusting. Like if my dad had been alive, like my dad didn't even ask stuff like that. Like my dad, and I know this is gonna be a little TMI, he wanted to know whenever was gonna be, whenever I thought I wanted to start having sex, he wanted me to come to him first so he could run the play down to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, protect yourself, don't trust these guys, all that stuff. So when he found out I had sex and didn't come to him, my daddy was hurt. He was hurt because he like, I told you that, to come to me, and tell me, but he didn't like berate me or, obviously didn't want details and stuff. But it's just like, if my own daddy, ain't vested in my sex life as a grown person, he's wanted to make sure I wasn't out here, unprotected and silly and young and dumb and, things of that nature. But I'm like, this is crazy. And so when you really think about how much power the elders have on people's lives, it's disgusting. Look at y'all with these emojis. Y'all, it was just straight disgusting. And when I tell you my husband was hot, he was hot because he felt like it wasn't given, I'm your religious leader. It was given something else. I'm just saying. So my husband was saying, he was like, why you just didn't tell her you got videos? Tell her you got videos. I was like, I don't owe her that. Now, if she come and find the videos, then she find the videos, because maybe they'll wake her up. And one other thing she kept repeating throughout, do your research. Do your research. I'm adding do your research to the list of words that trigger XJWs. Do your research. And you know how you just know you've kind of won the battle. You won the battle. So you like, why like in basketball, when it's already a blowout, you don't necessarily shoot a three at the buzzer, right? Or dunk it, right? It's all these rules of good sportsmanship, right? So I feel like I had made my points made because my energy never changed. But I could tell that she was getting irritated because I was questioning basically her Lord and Savior, which is the governing body. Because I wanted her to say the words out loud so she could hear them. If you're telling me it is absolutely no way on earth I can have a relationship with God, the only way that can happen is I have to be a Jehovah's Witness. Whew. Let's see. RC say, I give thanks every day that I am free from that mess. Absolutely. It's insane. It is insane. Do your research. Doing research is exactly why a lot of us left. That's what I wanted to tell them. I want to say I did my research. The things that I'm telling you right now is from research. And that's why I kept saying to her, well, on the broadcast, they said this. Or on the update, they said this. Because I wanted her to go home and tell her husband, she said, she brought up this from the broadcast, or she brought up that from the broadcast, so that they, not to keep them off the scent, but maybe for them to go back and ask themselves, maybe they might go look up something, and like I think Jeff said, um, they might go back and look up something and now it's gone. Like she even talked about, and that's what she was saying, like with the beards and the pants and the reverse on college and all this stuff, talking about, we have to progress with the times, because people are not going to sit down and read books. So that's why we have, the tablets and our phones and this and that. And I want to say so bad, no, that's not why. One, yes, it's cheaper to produce. You can make a digital product one time, and that's it, kind of thing. But I want to say it's because it's easier to erase the light. And when it gets brighter, you can just take the old light out. So I was like, y'all. I was like, this is some bull junk. This is some bull junk. I might have to do a video on words and phrases that give XJWs the icks. Let me put a little note here for myself. Yeah. Do your research. And I'm telling y'all, it took all my strength. When she kept saying that, I want to say, you keep saying, do my research. So do you advise I do research only from like jw.org and, governing body sanctioned material, or can I go secular? Like she didn't really have a comeback when I hit her with the, well, hey, Seventh-day Adventists, Mormon, they believe they have the truth. They believe that they had, a special prophet or whatever that is God's channel in communication. They have structure. They have their protocols and ways of doing things. Yes, they send their kids out on a mission. They don't necessarily go door to door. Now, Seventh-day Adventists, no, I don't think they go door to door. I don't know if they do something like a mission, but Jeff said, years ago, as I was questioning, I met with an inactive family member on a road trip. We talked for a couple of hours. I never brought up coming back to Jehovah. Quite honestly, I wasn't interested. Exactly. So don't get me started on them tablets. Hey, Hartley, happy Friday. I'm just on here venting. I'm telling all my people about I met with one of my 2 remaining Jehovah's Witness friends, and I thought we were gonna have just a good kind of catch-up session. And it was too good to be true, because she ended up preaching to me and basically telling me to come back to Jehovah. So that's what I'm running my mouth about over here today, Hartley. Let's see. Jeff said, talking about that years later after I left, I called him. He said at the time he knew I was waking up, although I didn't realize it. I think he could tell I was waking up in part because I wasn't trying to give him the come back to the Kingdom Hall spiel. Exactly. Everybody know it, right? Hey, Cassandra. Yes, Cassandra, that's right. Hit the like button, y'all. When y'all come into the live, like the live for your girl to help me out. I'm going to drop the link if anybody want to come up. Now, it's a way. I'll drop the link if anybody want to come up, share their come back to Jehovah story. Like, oh my God. And like I say, what's messed up is I love her. I do. But once I got clear about, what I had experienced and this and that, I had already resolved. I had resolved when her husband called me, about 5 years ago. and asked me why I wasn't going to the Kingdom Hall. And mind you, at that time, that had to be 2021, I hadn't been going to the Kingdom Hall since 2017. Like I had been gone, what, like 5 years? And you calling me? Here it is. I have been gone, what I consider officially, physically out for sure, 2017. So we talking about like 9 years. All right, Jeff coming on up. Hey,
Hey,
you okay with showing yourself?
yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you good. What's up?
Yeah, I
So
have a few minutes.
okay, and yeah. So it's like, how is it y'all still bugging me? That right there show you it's a code. But go ahead, Jeff. We got Jeff in the building on a Friday coming up. What would you like to add, or maybe you can expound on that conversation? Did you say your cousin or a friend?
No, it was a family member. I
Yeah.
won't name them, but it was somebody I was related to, and it was because I would do a lot of road trips, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be in this person's town. Let me hit him up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was funny. He was like, yeah, we can meet up, whatever. And at one point he was like, I'm inactive. Like I haven't been to the meeting in years because everybody in the family knew he stopped going. He was living, you know, uh, hundreds of miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And in the conversation, I was like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I sit and talk to you as a person, face to face. I see who you are, and I judge your character based on how I'm interacting with you, not based on whether you're going to the meetings or not.
Exactly.
Um, and yes, what it was interesting, it was at a point in my life where I was really, really, really questioning things, like really starting to ask questions and
Mm-hmm.
keeping all of it buried inside. But yeah, he was once I decided like I'm not going back to the Kingdom Hall. He was one of the first people I called, and we were talking, and he was like, "Yeah, you remember that time you came and met me?" He's like, "Yeah, like I knew you were waking up, but you didn't know it."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But no, it's just and now it's just interesting because like just the way I don't think I've had any interactions that I can remember where people are asking me those weird
Yeah.
questions. But hearing other people's stories, it's like it's really weird. Like out of you come across like somebody wants to know how you're doing, like they're sincere, and then out of the blue they just come up with, "Oh, what do you think about the governing body?"
Right.
Like, and the thing is, it's like it's such an unnecessary question.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary about how I'm doing. Like it just, I can't describe it any other way than cultish.
It's so culty, right? It's like we sat up there, had a great conversation. I was curious. I was being, I guess you could say, a little undercover messy, trying to be like, hey, I know the Kingdom Hall, them numbers is looking light, kind of just getting a feel for who still goes to that congregation and stuff like that. We could have left it there. But then we talked about, we both like, sports. So we talked about sports. We talked about work. We talked about, plans to retire, and all this stuff, health and being women and OB-GYNs and, all this stuff. So we done had this great catch up session. And just like that,
Yeah,
she like sat up in her chair, fixed her shirt. I have to ask you these questions before I
yeah.
leave. I was like,
And,
according to who?
and like, so I do still have some, what is it? Some immediate family who are still in it.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't interact with them a lot, but when I do, it does kind of come up because the thing is with them, where I stand, I'm just inactive. I just stopped going to meetings,
Yeah.
as far as anybody needs to know.
Yep.
Um, but I don't tell anybody. Like they don't. I think we kind of have like a don't ask, don't tell thing
Yeah.
going on, where it's like
Yes.
you don't know the circumstances surrounding me not going to. You just know that I'm not going.
Yep.
That's all you know. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I go into it, it's going to cause problems, but you don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but still they know that I haven't been there in a very long time. So it's like, oh, so the Kingdom Hall's only a mile from you. Like, yeah, no, I live in this town.
Right. Like, okay, thanks for the FYI, Google Maps.
But I kind of wonder now that we're talking about it. It's like, if they didn't bring it up, I think somebody who's inactive might be more inclined to go back.
Really? How so?
If it's not in your face, like if so, to me, like I said, if somebody comes across like they're sincerely interested in you, if I'm just thinking, I guess, kind of the person I am.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason I think I left is because if I care for somebody, it's genuine, it's not programmed. And I started seeing problems in the
Right.
organization. But, if somebody at the Kingdom Hall genuinely cares about you as a person and has an interest in you
Mm-hmm.
and just leaves the conversation or relationship where it is without bringing up anything related to this, like, if I mean, I know what I know enough now to know I'm never going back.
Right, right. I
But
think I know what you're saying. You saying like how I consider this my real friend, right?
yeah,
This was my real friend. So you saying like if I didn't know all that I know about, the truth about the truth, right?
yeah,
If I didn't know all this, if I had never discovered, a XJW space and I'm just inactive, and here she comes and we have this conversation, and then she gives me the spiel, excuse me, about, come back to Jehovah. I think that's what you're saying. Like you can see how it can make somebody who inactive say, you know what? Yeah, let me go to the meeting, or let me go to the memorial this year.
no, so it's the opposite for me. It's like, you know what? If you're in the organization, you're like me, I was born in program. I already know what's coming. I already know this person's programmed to say exactly this.
Okay.
If somebody comes up to me and just treats me like a normal, regular person without having any of that, then I might think to myself, wow, this person actually cares about me. Wow, there's
Oh, I
people that
see.
care about for me. Any kind of connection or whatever to being a Jehovah's Witness, but just cares about me as a person.
Yes.
Wow, you know what? They
Okay.
care. Let me go back.
Mm-hmm.
Some people must miss me.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. I
it's
see.
like
Yeah.
being missed as a like almost like, okay, wow, these people miss me as a person
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
instead of me missing as just like, oh, is this person an active witness?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. And I think that does happen for quite a few, like you mentioned, especially people born and raised in, like when I listen to people's stories, um, I think Awaken Truth might have had somebody not too long ago that they interviewed. He had like was born and raised in and never got baptized, kind of was out in the world, ran into some people. I think they started playing basketball or something like that. And then he like, you know what? Yeah, maybe I do need to go back to the hall. And then he ended up, going back to the hall. And that lasted for a few months. Then he realized like, no, this some BS, and then he like left for good. But yeah, I could see how that could happen, because you do think, oh, they taking a genuine interest in me, you know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming up and elaborating on that, Jeff.
yeah, yeah.
Greatly appreciate it.
It's just I don't I don't I don't know if I kind of felt like it when I was still fully in. Just certain ways people would try to draw people in, like shepherding calls. I would go on shepherding calls and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Mm-hmm.
you see it more clearly once you've been out and you're like, these people are programmed.
Mm-hmm. It's all programming. I've
Yeah,
said it in so many videos where, like even seeing how they'll go out their way to help like a Bible study, if they got small kids and this and that. But then you can have somebody in the congregation who needs that same kind of assistance and they won't do it. So
Yeah.
it's programming to be, nice and caring and show how much, we have each other's back, to these people. But then the people in the congregation, they don't get the same kind of, love and treatment.
Yeah. And like I was talking to so there's somebody that found me, um, who I hadn't spoken to in almost 20. I know this guy from like my way, way, way past. I'm trying to remember, like, I know this guy where I lived in this place and when I was going to this congregation. So I'm like, man, I hadn't heard from this guy in like 15, 20 years. So he ends up finding me and he's like, are you still a witness? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, no, I left. But anyways, we're just kind of catching up. And he's like, yeah, when we were in the same congregation, you were always like real cool with me or whatever. Cause this is like one thing I realized, to me, thinking out loud, is a lot of times the people that genuinely care about other people are the ones that end up leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was telling him, he had a hard time in the congregation because he was kind of like an outsider. He didn't quite fit the mold perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So they really didn't have a place for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was always, it's funny. He was telling me he thought one of the elders put me in there to try to get some dirt on him.
Put you where?
To befriend this guy. He's like,
Oh,
yeah, I thought the elders wanted you to like befriend him
to
so
try
I
to get
can
some
get the
dirt.
scoop or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm that never occurred to me. And even if they did, I wouldn't do that. But the thing, like what I told him, I'm like, no, like, I interacted with you because I genuinely wanted
Mm-hmm.
to like hang out with you.
Yeah.
And witnesses, if you don't fit a specific mold, like it's not long before you become an outcast.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if you're the kind of person who takes genuine interest in people that might not fit into that perfect mold, sooner or later you're going to find out there's not much of a place for you there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Regardless, like you're just not going to have a place in that culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something else. It's something else. Well, thanks so much, Jeff, for coming
Oh yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you the first. I think you the first brave soul to come up in just like a random live. So I am going live Sunday, y'all. Um And right now, Tim and Jerron will be coming live with me as well. So that'll be our official XJW kickback for the week. But I just wanted to come on here, y'all, today. Because after this experience, I was like, oh, I gotta go tell my people about this. So we'll see what happened. We will see what happens. She gave me the rundown. I know when they have the meeting and all this, kind of stuff. But I'm sure she'll probably, if she don't find out before from now until, I'm sure when Memorial come, I'll get a memorial text and things of that nature. But yeah, like Jeff said, when I was trying to think like in what situations. Okay, Jeff, I guess he dropped back down. Um, in what situations have I ever like, try to convince somebody to, come back or do this or do that? And I can't think of none. I can't think of none. Not to that degree. You know, my my father-in-law, and not every time we go over there, but every now and again he'll say he's Jamaican, so he has an accent. He'll say, "When you all can come to church," and usually me and my husband say, "We gonna look at the calendar. We gonna come or whatever," and that's it. And then we just go on with the rest of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? He don't pull out the Bible and pound us over the head with it. Yeah, so it's just like, geez, mm but That was it, y'all. I ain't gonna keep y'all too long. What y'all got planned for the weekend? It's gonna be cold tomorrow. The Bears play. I have a little bit of a superstition. I feel like when I watch the Bears with intention, meaning I ain't doing nothing else, I'm just watching the game, they do not win. When I don't watch, they win. So I'm torn between, do I watch, do I not watch? They give me such heart palpitations. So I don't know. But I'm gonna try to be productive tonight. We ate Blaze pizza. Do y'all have a Blaze pizza around y'all? It's you can kind of make your own, pick what you want on it, and then it's like the fire oven um kind of pizza. So I hadn't ate earlier. That's all I had. So I think I'm gonna chill out. I got a little bit of work to do, but I think the rest of the evening I'm gonna chill. I don't have any patient scheduled tomorrow, so I'm just gonna work on the clinic. What y'all got planned for the weekend? Y'all still there? I see Jeff had typed that he had dropped down, but he's still here. Is y'all still here? I don't know if YouTube tripping. Let's see. Jeff said, "I'm from Buffalo. No matter how good the Bills do, I can trust that they're always gonna let me down." Yeah, I mean the Bears had a better season, this year. Even though a lot of the games was like, driving you crazy, literally to the last minute. I still loved Justin Fields, so you know, I'm still not like a diehard Caleb Williams. I respect him, but I really was this coach had been here when Justin was here. So we shall see. All right, y'all. I know it ain't just me and Jeff here. It's saying we got about 8 people. Y'all just don't want to tell me. I know somebody was driving, so I know they can't drive. But whoever's still here, I hope y'all have a good weekend. Right now for Sunday, I'm thinking. Let's see. Tim say 7:30, which is what 6:30 Central Standard Time. I'm thinking we probably are gonna go live Sunday at 7 Central Time to give Tim time to do what he needs to do, and then to give Joran, time to do what he needs to do. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, y'all have a good one. Unless y'all got something else y'all want to chit chat about, but I don't know if y'all just ain't got nothing to say or the chat ain't showing everybody stuff. I'm not sure. So, well, we got like maybe 2 more minutes until it's an hour, just in case y'all do. Or y'all just gonna wait till Sunday. Sunday. Let's see. Oh, Jeff said, I'm looking forward to seeing Jerron. I lived in NYC too. I'm wondering if we had some similar experiences and how some of the same people were about the same age. Could be. Could be. All right, Cassandra. See you Sunday. See you Sunday, RC. All right. So y'all was still here. I wasn't sure. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. See y'all Sunday. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Oh, and don't forget to I posted a new video yesterday talking about 3 week reasons why XJWs should tell their story. So if you haven't checked that video out, please check it out. Like it, hype it, share it, and also, y'all, I am looking for people who would like to share their despite story. So if you ever want to share your HJW experience or just a portion of it, maybe if it's not the whole thing, I would love to talk to you and see, if this platform is a good fit to tell your story. So don't forget that. You can always email me. Email I think is on my page on the channel, and you can also inbox me on Instagram. I think it's I'll tell you. I ain't got to think. I'll tell you right now. It is. mm, I got too many Instagrams. Okay. It's same OT underscore the number two. So, you can go over there and follow and inbox me there. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend. See you Sunday.